Live from the Scripps Studios, this is 10 News.
President Trump has just signed a new travel ban executive order. I'm Virginia Cha.
I'm Jason Martinez, and ABC's Janae Norman joins us from Washington now with how this order is different from the first controversial travel ban.
President Trump's long-awaited executive order finally revealed.
As threats to our security continue to evolve and change, common sense dictates that we continually reevaluate and reassess the systems we rely upon to protect our country.
The new travel ban temporarily halting all refugees from entering the United States, no longer singling out Syrian refugees who were permanently restricted with the first ban. The new order also narrows the list of countries, removing Iraq, making it now 6 majority Muslim countries impacted instead of 7. And it doesn't impact anyone who currently has a valid visa. The original executive order led to outrage, causing chaos and confusion at airports around the world, leaving travelers in legal limbo and preventing families, some with children, from boarding flights and entering the country. These travelers had valid visas, some were even green card holders, but they weren't allowed in until a federal court put the ban on hold. Lawyers from Washington State argued that executive order violated the Constitution.
We had students and faculty at our state universities who were stranded overseas. We had families that were separated.
An appeals court in San Francisco upheld the decision to put the ban on hold, with the judges writing, quote, "Rather than present evidence to explain the need for the executive order, the government has taken the position that we must not review its decision at all. We disagree." In response to that ruling, the president originally tweeted, quote, "See you in court," but ultimately decided to revoke the first order and replace it with this new one that will take effect March 16th. Janae Norman, ABC News, Washington.
Also developing at the White House, President Trump won't back down from his claims that President Obama bugged Trump Tower. Now, according to ABC News sources, FBI Director James Comey wants the Justice Department to say those claims are not true. A former Obama staff member says no president can order a wiretap. The White House is calling for a congressional investigation.
New screening procedures at airports could mean a more intimate search by TSA agents. 10 News reporter Jared Aarons is live at Lindbergh Field with the changes and how passengers feel about it.
Jason, the new screenings are meant to streamline the procedures for security. They take 5 different pat-down methods and combine them into one that's going to be used at airport checkpoints all across the country. This new policy comes after a report found major security problems. In 95% of tests, weapons and other hazardous materials made it through security. So the pat-downs will be random, but they're also for people who refuse to go through body scanners or who get flagged by a scan. The new pat-downs started last Thursday. People who flew into San Diego this morning said they didn't notice any difference going through security, and they're okay with the new rules.
I guess it all depends, like if you're traveling anywhere. It's just for everybody's security. If you have like something suspicious on your body, or I wouldn't feel uncomfortable because I'd rather be safe.
Yeah, I definitely think there is a fine line. It's hard to say, I think once you experience it, then you kind of would know when that line is, what's getting crossed. I think everybody kind of, has kind of a good feeling of where that line is.
TSA wanted to make sure everybody was comfortable with this, so passengers do have some rights in these screenings. They can ask to be screened in private. They also can ask to have a friend come with them to supervise the screening, and they will only be screened by a TSA officer of the same gender, and there will always be a second officer present at the screening. TSA also says that all of its people at checkpoint have had formal training on the new pat-down procedures. Live at Lindbergh, Jared Aarons, 10 News.
Thank you, Jared. Happening now, sentencing is underway for a doctor who wrote illegal prescriptions. Team 10 has been on top of the case of Dr. Nagatoda. 10 News reporter Mimi Alcala is at the federal courthouse with the possible punishment.
Dr. Nagatoda is inside of the federal courthouse right now, facing a judge to learn his fate. Last year, he pleaded guilty to 7 federal counts and admitted he wrote hundreds of illegal prescriptions to patients who didn't need them, sometimes in exchange for sex. Those were prescriptions for drugs like oxycodone and hydrocodone. In an interview with the Los Angeles Times back in 2012, during a series about prescription drug deaths, Toda admitted 15 of his patients died of drug overdoses in 7 years. He spoke about the challenges of caring for people in chronic pain and says he was just trying to help them.
It bothers me, yes. It saddens me, yes. But I'm going to stop my practice? I don't think so. Because somebody has to do this to help these unfortunate people.
Toda, who was an anesthesiologist and ran a pain management center in El Cajon, faces up to 20 years in prison and a $1 million fine. Once the decision is made, we will bring that to you. Reporting at the federal courthouse, Mimi Alcala, 10 News.
Thank you, Mimi. Breaking news out of Phoenix, a hiker is safe after being stuck on a steep cliff at Papago Park. The 61-year-old woman climbed into this dangerous position right there. She couldn't go up and she couldn't go down on her own. So rescuers had to go up to her. They used ropes to lower her to a secure part of the mountain. From there, she was able to walk down the rest of the way. Happening now, extra security is still in place at the La Jolla Jewish Community Center. The La Jolla local JCC had to be evacuated 3 times before investigators could make a sweep and deem the bomb threats to be phony. The directors are not taking any chances, even though there has been an arrest. The FBI says this man, Juan Thompson, made threats against JCCs nationwide to try to frame an ex-girlfriend. People are hoping that will end it.
I hope it's the right guy and that it this quells things and that they don't just continue to pop up.
The FBI says they do not think Thompson, though, was the only one making those threats.
Happening today, the man accused of hoarding more than 100 Yorkies will be in court. Mark Fatimo was arrested after 92 dogs were found at his home in Poway, and then almost 50 other dogs found at another location. The Yorkies were kept in dark rooms filled with feces and mice. They've all been rescued by the Humane Society. Fatimo faces 10 felony charges of animal abuse and neglect. Happening today, the sentencing for the man who fired a shot inside an Oceanside Target store. Dennis Lam was trying to shoplift and shot at an employee. Nobody was hurt, but he was arrested the next day after he led the CHP on a chase through Orange County. Lam was convicted of attempted murder for that shooting.
Happening now, a chance to eat lunch at California Pizza Kitchen for a good cause. The chain Southern California restaurants are holding a fundraiser for the family of Officer Keith Boyer. You may recall he was shot and killed while responding to a car crash in Whittier last month. The CPK fundraiser goes through Wednesday. 20% of all sales will go to Boyer's family. Just mention the fundraiser to your server. We have a breaking news update from the Midway area. A driver is in jail after crashing his truck into a hotel. The truck went so far into the wall, the Bay Inn, it almost came out the other side. People were staying in 2 of the rooms that truck hit. See the damage on the other side? Police said the driver had just left a nightclub, hit a parked car and a pole before slamming into the hotel. Police say he and his passenger tried to run away, but witnesses were able to tell officers where the 2 went.
Happening now, winter weather has a route into Yosemite National Park shut down. It's a State Route 120 there. You can't drive on that road. It is just a giant gash right in the middle of the road. There's damage that it's sustained yesterday. A woman actually died. A separate incident when a tree fell and hit her in Half Dome Village. Park officials have also closed 2 other areas in that park because of bad weather. And there was also weather damage in Vegas. That area had winds that were near hurricane force for much of yesterday. In fact, there was also a ground stop at the Las Vegas airport about 6 last night for anybody trying to leave after a weekend in Vegas.
Happening now, Spring Valley students are being recognized for their work to help classmates with their mental health. Seal Canyon High has taken part in the Say Something program for 2 years. Now, Say Something was started by a national organization led by family members of Sandy Hook shooting victims. Students at Seal Canyon are taught to look for warning signs and signals, especially on social media, that their peers may be a threat to themselves or to others.
Every day we are witnessing and seeing students report different instances on campus.
Today, Sandy Hook Promise representatives are giving Seal Canyon the Best Overall School Award for their participation in the program last year.